It's a cold easterly blowing through Harlow today, and temperature gone right down. And I know where the warm spaces are in Colchester and Saffron Walden and Chelmsford and Southend, but I don't know where the warm spaces are allocated in Harlow. There's been nothing stated, whereas in Essex around there has. Is that a concern for you?
Well, a huge concern. It's something that I know Councillor Kay Morrison raised last year, actually, about needing to get this situation sorted out, and I think she raised it again this year. Yeah, it feels like the council, our council in Harlow, have been very slow on the uptake on this issue once again. And like you said, next week is likely to be very, very cold. It's cold now, and it's likely to get colder. So it is a real concern for me because, again, as we've had a conversation on this before, the big issue that people are talking to me on the doorstep, again, is the cost of living crisis, is the concerns about heating their homes through the winter period. And actually, we need to be doing what we can to tackle this issue. I've got a question in for the cabinet meeting next week, but that may well be too late because that's Thursday. I know that my deputy, Councillor Edwards, has been asking questions behind the scenes on this. But actually, what needs to happen is the council needs to advertise these warm spaces, whether they are warm spaces they are providing, or they are warm spaces provided by other organisations, which is absolutely fine and good and proper. But I don't know why we seem to be on the back foot on this issue again. And it sort of, was it the best kept secret? I don't know why, really. I think that we need to be advertising this issue. So that's something I will be calling for, absolutely.
And meanwhile, and very, very finally, meanwhile, the warm spaces in people's homes may not be warm spaces because they can't afford to put their heating on, and looking at the energy bills going up. A lot of people really didn't get to the grips of an autumn statement where they can see their bills in January. Is that true?
Well, absolutely, and I've obviously sent you a statement, with regards to the autumn statement, and I think actually the reality of that, there was very little in that to really support working people in Harlow, and actually it was an autumn statement that took with one hand and gave with the other, and actually I think, as you say, people in Harlow, hard-working people in Harlow, are still going to be finding that they are going to struggle to pay their bills over the winter period, and a lot of that has, I have to say, has been down to 13 years of a government that hasn't had a plan, that has made bad decisions, and we've seen, the growth forecast once again lower than was predicted, even in March of this year. And I think, I'm obviously going to say this as a Labour parliamentary candidate, but I think people in Harlow recognise that we need change. We need a competent government, a government that can bring back that stability in the economy, and will actually start to put together a real plan of action to get growth back in the economy, and actually to look at how we can support people's lives. And I think for me, my biggest criticism of the Conservative government, and perhaps to an extent the Conservatives in Harlow, is a lot of their approach is about buildings, and actually it's important that we build, and that's why I'm delighted that, as I said to you in the previous interview, that the Labour Party nationally are talking about a real programme of building, and not just piecemeal, but a real building houses. But it also needs to be, in my view, a person-centred approach. We need to look at how people are struggling and how we can support them to make their lives better. And that, for me, is one of my key principles moving forward. How do we support people? How do we give them that aspiration back? How do we back people?